In this chapter, we're going to work with our fonts, which are our global fonts. We're going to work with font variables and then variable fonts. And the two are different. Whenever you put variables or variables at the end, it means the global setting. When we talk about variable fonts, we are talking about a font that can stretch in width of the character. I'll show you soon how that works. I prefer working with font variables. Before we do that, I'll also show you how to disable Google Fonts if you are in a region where this is an issue, or if you just prefer to disable that search for the Google Fonts, and then we're going to upload our custom fonts. Into the builder we go, and from here, where we are currently, we exit first, go to the top right and select exit to dashboard. We go to Divi and then Divi theme options. And then Divi theme options, general, just a little bit down over here. Use Google Fonts, and we say, no way, Jose. And once you've done that, scroll down to the bottom and click on Save Changes, because that's my number one mistake. I forget to save changes. We go to the front end, and from here, I'll just select Edit with Divi. What has happened now? Select the text, go to Design, Text, and Text Font, select the drop-down, and you only have those few fonts. Usually you have lists and lists of fonts. You only have the system fonts, which you can use if you want to, but we're going to upload our own. Like before, we're not going to do it from here. The more and more I'm working with variables, the more I'm working with global settings. I think some global settings are really important. I think others are your own preference. But when it comes to your fonts that you use, global settings is the way to go. So we go to variables. To the top left corner, variable manager, select, and then open up fonts. Both heading and body font will use the same font, and that is popups. Now, popups is a Google font. Why do I disable it if I have to upload it myself? Again, there are reasons. If you're in a region where you don't want to fetch it from Google, you do that. Or if you are using a very specialized font that Google doesn't have, you're going to do the same. And we're going to do that as well. Heading and body font, popups. Now, in this case, I need to upload popups by myself. And you can download it from popups, which is, I think, the Indian Foundry. I'm not sure now, but you will find it on Google as well. Secondly, I'm using a variable font. Let's start with the heading, and we get into it. Select upload, give it a name, and I'll call it popups. Choose font files, opens my browser, my fonts, and here is popups variable font. You see there's only one font. A variable font can give you all the sizes from thin to normal, which is regular, to bold to extra bold, all those different terminology, or you can use the 100 to 900 system for the weights or the widths of the font width. The great thing about a variable is I don't have to care about bringing in all those fonts. If you don't use a variable font, you have to upload each one by one by one. Select upload, and now my popups is there. And if I go to body, I can select popups now as well. And you can see the moment I select popups, it also updates on the page. If it doesn't update, click on Save, Variables, Apply Changes, Save at the top, and reload your page, and those changes will propagate onto the page. Let's hit back, Variable Manager, select Fonts. For this first section, I'm going to be creating this very unique hero section. And why is it very unique? Because I will never do it again on this site. And in fact, these two fonts used in this hero section, I'll never use it either. That is amazing, right? What a waste of my precious time, but I love it and I want to show it to you, so we're going to do it. So we upload two more fonts that we're only going to use here. Fonts, click on Add Global Font. Let's give it a name. And I'm going to give it the names of the fonts. That makes it easier for me to find them. The first one I'm going to upload is Mike Sans. And then upload, give it a font name. Again, the font name and the name you give it is different. Choose, and where is Mike? Over here. Upload Mike. Upload. Good, Mike is in there. And one more. And this one is going to be Playfair Display, which again is a Google font very often found. I'm using the variable font. I only need to use one little file to upload, but it's important. This one is italics. It's not just the normal one. It's only italics. Click on upload. and we call it Play Fair Display, italics, choose font files. You see here I have the two Play Fair displays, and I'll choose the italic variable font weight. Open up, upload, and these four fonts appear. Save variables. Let's go have a look at what this means on the page before we start building out this section. Click on it, and that's the text module. Design, select text, and go to the text font. The first thing that is important is that the text font for the text module will always get the font from what you set over here in the variables, which is popups. And the same for any heading text, it will get it over here from the heading, which is also set to popups. So you will get the popups for both of them. This heading, I want to use Mike Sans. What is important, and I've said what is important a few times, if you choose the dropdown, you will see the fonts, not the variables. Very important. Let me say it again. When you use the dropdown here and you select any of them, you are not selecting the variable, you're selecting the font. That means that if later on you decide I want to change Poppins to Montserrat and you update it in variables, it's not going to update across your site. You will have to come and change everywhere all your presets for that update to filter through. How I tell my text font which variable font or which font variable to use, you need to go to text font and the three little discs, which says insert dynamic content, and that's where the variables are housed. Select, and now you see I don't see the names of the fonts. I see the names of the variables I've given. So there's body, there's heading, then I called it Mike Sans, and I call it Play Fair Display Italics. These are not the fonts, they are the font variables. That means if I choose any of them, change them on the left side in the panel, they will update across every instance where I used it. Let's select Mike Sans, and you can see the text updates. That's very important to distinguish between these two concepts, whether you are using the font or you're using the font variable. Right, so we've basically ticked off three things. We talked about font variables, then we disabled Google Fonts, then we uploaded our custom fonts, and in my case, I used variable fonts. All of these are variable fonts. Now we're going to build out our section. And we're going to do this by using text modules and putting them next to next in the same row. Click on the text module that we've brought onto the page. On the right side, go to content, the text over here, and you can change it. And all we type in is the. Let me just remind you what we are creating. The best quality. How do we do this? We are going to create a module for the, one text module. Then we're going to create a text module for best. And then we're going to create one for quality. Because I will never use this design across my website ever again, I'm not going to create presets. I'll just build it manually, which is what we're very comfortable with. With that module selected of the, I will now go to design. I've already put it on Mike Sans. I leave the text font weight. I've already put my text color variable on secondary color. And now for my text size, I am going to go for 64. Enter 64. One thing here that's very important. After I've typed in this 64, hover over the text or select it even. And note that the bounding box, even of the row, is narrower than the height of the. We go here to the sidebar on the left, select X-ray. Now you can see it much better. That is the line height. The text line height here in the options panel on the right says 1.7 em. Not true. I'm not sure what it is. I think it is fixed at a pixel height. It's definitely not em. It's not stretching. And I suspect it's got something to do that this is actually a rich text element. To make sure you don't run into this snag. Otherwise, once we start doing this build out, things are going to start overlapping and you're not going to be sure where it comes from. Go to text line height and type in 1. It is on em, so once I type in one you can see here with the X-ray vision that we can see what's going on. I had a question, why is there space at the bottom? And that is for any of those letters that go below your X line. Let's type in G, then you will see there's space for that. So that space is not padding, it's not margins, it is your font. Now we have the there. Duplicate this text module. I'll duplicate it by clicking here, and I'll duplicate it again. Select the next one, change the text, I'll type in your best. And the only thing I need to do here is change the font size. Go to Design, Text, and for the text size, I'm going to put it on 150 pixels. Then for the last one, select that, Quality, and put the text size on 300. Enter. What is happening here? We have 3 text modules, and they are inside the row. We open up our layers panel. We can see we have a section, then the row. Always inside a row, we have a column. This is the standard structure. And now we have these 3 text modules. They are stacked, and that is the standard setup for a column. But this column is a flex container. So it can be stacked, or we can tell the column we want everything in a row. Select the column and just have a look at how that works. You go to Layout, and it says Layout Direction, and currently it is set to Stack, which is a column. Select this one, Row. And now you immediately see, aha, this is where we are moving towards. So we have a row. Now, all of these shrink basically to the box size, not shrink, but they come to the box size next to each other. But I want the quality below this. There are probably 1,000 ways you can go about doing it. I'll show you the way that I settled upon. Reset the layout direction so it's back to column. What I'll do is I'll take the and I'll take best, these 2 text modules, and I'll put them in a group module. And then I'm going to tell a group module to put them in a row. Go to any of them, select here, add new module or row, and select group, and the group drops onto the page. Go to the first one, click, hold, and drag it into the group module, and then go to base, click, hold, and drag, you drop it. Check here on the left in the layers panel, go to group, and you see we have the text, and you see we have the text within the text. Yes, that is possible. Click the one at the bottom and just drag it a little bit to the left so that they are now stacked, but they're in the same group. Always check this. It's very, very easy to make this kind of mistake. Now we have these 2 in the group module, and the group module is also a flex module. In fact, every module in Divi is a flex module, can be. Select group, design on the right, layout. Currently it's in column, put it on row. Things are starting to come together, the and best. And what is this space here? Currently I'm still in X-ray view. I think I'm going to leave it on X-ray view so you can understand what I'm doing. That there is a gap that the group is applying between different modules within the group. And that's how we work in the flex world. We don't work with margins, we work with gaps. Under layout, you will see we have a horizontal gap and a vertical gap. Currently, my modules are not stacked. They're not vertical, so this is irrelevant. So we look at the horizontal gap. And what I'll do is I'll select it, make it 6, enter, and look, that space between the and the best becomes very small. With the group selected, remaining here, I'll go to Justify Content and select Center. And now the and the best is in the center. Beautiful. What do we do about quality? Now quality and the group, the best group, they are inside the column. Select the column. Under layout, it is stacked, which is what I want, but I also want to align the items to the center. And now they're all nicely aligned. The other thing I want to achieve here is to make sure that that space in the middle is also removed. This again is done at the column level. Now we are stacked, so it's the vertical gap. And this time I'll add 0. No gap. but there is still too much space. Deactivate the X-ray. And now I will use my margins, and I will use a negative margin. Select the module for the quality, which is a text module. In the options on the side, we go to spacing, margins, and what did I have it on? -36, and our heading is created. Good. Once we start adding more padding and space and all that kind of stuff, it's going to look really good. Before we continue with the next module, let's go to tablet. It's a little too big. Let's click on it, go to text, and this is for the quality. Currently it's at 300. I'll put it on 260. The and best I will leave as is. Jump down one more to your phone. We definitely have to change this. I'll grab my slider on the left and take it down to 360 pixels. Select best, which is currently at 150, and I'll make it 120. Select quality. Bring it down to 120. The negative margin we created at the top, let's reduce that a little bit with quality selected. Go to spacing, -36, and we put it on -30. Just take a little bit away of that, and we have more space. Cool. Looks nice. Remember about the preview mode in the top right corner, you can select preview. Unfortunately, the preview just shows you this, and that is the front page for your desktop. I don't see any mobile previews here. Best way is to go view it on the front end. So select here preview on front end, then hit function key F12 on your keyboard. This will open the inspector. If you don't see it, like here I'm in Mozilla Firefox. It's here at the bottom. Look for the little responsive design mode icon. Enter that. Now you can see this is how it will look on an iPhone. We have a few to choose from here. You can work through them. We set them up nicely. Here's laptop, Pixel, Android. They're going to work perfectly for all of them. And we exit this mode again. You can just hit again F12 on your keyboard or close here at the top. Back into Divi. Let's create the rest of this section. Now that I've created this, I have a little bit of a sub tag here at the bottom. The structure is different, and every time you work with a new kind of structure inside Divi, you bring in a new row. You don't just bring in new modules, you bring in a new row. Click here, add new row. I'm looking for one with a small container on the left, larger one on the right. I go to offset columns flex. It's not what I want, but I'm going to make some changes with this and select. It opens up the first one on the left column. What do I want? I want a divider. Select the divider. Can't see the divider? Go over to the options on the right, select design, go to line. We change the color first, click on the swatch and select secondary color, which is white. This line position I find is very useful. Currently that line is put to the top of the container. Hover over it, you see we have that little bit of a container. It's easier to work with it when it's vertically centered. I think that should be the default actually. Vertically centered, now it will always appear, because when you have it on top or bottom and you hover over it, the container box, that black box, will obscure the line and you can't see it. That's why I think vertically centered is easier to work with. Go to sizing, divider weight, put it on 3, and then the width, I will lock in it at 75 pixels. Type in 75 px and enter on your keyboard. Select the column and we place that divider now inside the column. We do that by going to Layout, Column. We tell it to justify content to the center. Look on the page, it goes to the center, and now we align it to the middle also. Actually, this one we put on end, the one that says end on the right. We want to flush it to this side. Second column, click on Add New Module or Row. Here we bring in a text, and we will call this one Fresh Ideas for Your Business. Change the color first, click on it, text font, and remember we are using a variable. Go to the little disk icon and select Playfair Display Italics. Text color the same, click on our white swatch, secondary color, and then text size, put it on 36. Didn't I change it? Go to content and we change it over here. We say fresh ideas for your, I think that's 2. your business. And again, you see that box isn't at 1M. Design, text, line height, 1M. I think we'll also give it a little bit of letter spacing at 1.5 pixels. Nice. Go to the left column within the row, column on the left hand, select it, go to sizing, and at the bottom where it says column class, currently it's put at a quarter column. I want to put it on a sixth, so it moves even further to the left. Select the row, and the reason I want to select the row, let me show you with the X-ray vision. See that space between these two columns? I want to remove that. So you go to the parent container, which is the row, design, layout. This is a horizontal gap. I'll type in 8 pixels. Let's take away the X-ray, and that's how it looks. 8 pixels, a little too little, so we make it 16. Again, activate X-ray vision. See this gap here between these two rows. We have the green row here, second one here. How do we remove this gap? We go up one parent container, and that is to the section, the blue one. Horizontal gap, no, this is vertical. Select vertical gap, and we type in 0. Remove the X-ray, 80% of our design basically done. We add one more row. We want to bring in an icon at the bottom, a new concept, new row. Hover over the last row, look for the green label, click on the plus, add new row. This is a 1 column row equal, and I bring in an icon, but in Divi, like I mentioned to you at the beginning, I cannot bring in custom icons, so I have to bring in my SVGs. That means I need an image module for that. Click on the module, select, and now I need to find it. I know it says arrow down. First one, there we go. I named it luckily. Arrow down white, upload an image. Huge arrow onto the page. Let's make some changes here. Go to design, sizing, width, and I put it on 128 pixels. That's nice and sweet. To get it aligned, you have to use the alignment under sizing, alignment, center. We add space, go to the row, and I'll use margins here. Spacing, margins at the top, I'll add 100 pixels. And this part is finished. There's one thing I missed, and that is the second row with this divider and our text here. In tablet, it's going to look fine. The moment you go to phone, it doesn't work. First reason is that Divi by default is going to take columns, stack them on cell phone. That's the first thing we have to fix. Second thing is this text is too big. Let's first the stacking first. Select the first column, go to design, sizing, and it's put to full width. Again, I'll just drop it to 1/6. Then for this one, then go to column class. I'm looking for 5 out of 6. Notice here at the bottom, this is a system. We'll talk about the system maybe a little bit later. 5 out of 6, these are 24. So 5 out of 6, how many 6s go into 24? 4. So that's 20 out of 24. If I select that, I will get a perfect column matching the 1/6. I hope that makes sense. That's a little bit of crazy math in there. And basic, actually. With this text element selected, we go to design text, and it is at 36. We'll just drop it down to 30 a little bit. I will keep it breaking into 2 lines, but I'll increase the line height to 1.2. Reduce the space of this row between the icon and the rest. The 100 is just too much, so we go to spacing at 100, and let's put it down to 45. Good. Back to desktop. The rest of this section, select the section. We add padding at the top, 100 pixels, and we add 50 pixels at the bottom. Do you remember what we did in this section? We disabled Google Fonts. We uploaded our variable fonts. Then we used them as font variables to build out this section. We use individual text modules to build out this heading. And this is where you can build out multicolored headings. You can build multi-line headings. And if you know a little bit more about this, you don't have to use pixels. You use something like viewport width or even clamp values, which we'll cover in later modules, on how you can make this actually grow and shrink across different device sizes. We added this over here. We played around with the columns. We work with a small column. And we really had a good look at how every container turns out to be flex. You can put it stack or you can put it in a row. For the last part in our hero section, we'll work with positioning, something that I actually find myself doing quite a lot. And positioning helps us to put something on the page and place it outside of the regular concept of that container. We're going to bring in a little plant. We're going to put it over here, and we're going to set it so it's under the quality that the quality will overlap that plant.